Hey
You are
everyone, welcome to today's EECOM Mentor Monthly live stream brought to you by LaunchCart.com. I'm Johnson Doan, Director of Marketing here at LaunchCart, and I'm going to bring on my partner here. There he is, right there, Greg Ryder.
Well, you can say, and I'm Greg Ryder. What's happening, everybody out there in Facebook land and Instagram land and YouTube land? We're streaming all over the place. This new technology, it's cool stuff.
It's really cool. This stream, our streams is brought to us from EECOM Mentor Monthly and LaunchCart.com. And if you don't know what that is, let's tell you real quick before we start the show. It is an exclusive membership site for people like you that want to start online businesses. And we go through courses. There's material, there's resources, there's templates to build your store. There's all kinds of things that we oops, sorry, got that. That's my bad. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Sorry about that. And so we give you a lot of courses. It's an exclusive site. We have our own community. It goes for $97 a month. But if you stay tuned to the end of the show, we're going to talk about an exclusive deal that you can get in at a way, way low ground level to be able to be a part of it. Until then, all of these streams are going to be available for everybody publicly until December. After that, we're going to archive them to the membership site. So with that being said, let me introduce you once again, my amazing co-host there. Mr. Greg Ryder. Greg Ryder, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, so our goal is to create a community and help people learn and educate and be educated with e-commerce and help you be successful with your e-commerce business. And one of the main things we're going to do, and we've done in the past for years and years and years, we're going to consistently do this, is bring you guys experts that have been doing this for years and sometimes maybe a decade that are really, really killing it, crushing it, have the experience, have the wherewithal to share some wisdom, the insight with you. And that's what today's all about. Today's our Ask the Expert. And we've got a good friend on the phone who's been around our circles for years and years and years, Kevin Vititoe. So Kevin, thanks for joining us today, man.
Hey, it's good to be here. Good to see everyone. Hello.
We know you. We got you.
Good. My cat is making noises in the background, so I'm trying to get some assistance to get him put away.
So
that reminds me. Did you do a lot of cat print on demand?
Really, that's a weird market. It's not like dogs. Dogs are huge. Cats, not so much. I think they're so independent. They don't like to be around other people. So,
and maybe their owners are the same way.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's awesome. Okay, so Kevin, you go back farther than me than my experience with LaunchCart, but you know Greg for a while here.
Right.
So why don't you give us an introduction about what your background is a little bit? Just to let you all know, there are some things I read about you in your bio, and before we start, I just thought it was extremely impressive how you started and how you had to reset. And maybe you can tell the audience a little about that, and then we'll ask you some specific questions for our audience so that you can get right on the ground moving with their e-commerce store. Does that sound good?
Oh yeah, sure.
All right.
I got started originally back in the year 2000. It was December 2000, and there was a Pokemon video game that was selling like crazy and nobody could get. And I knew a guy that was a toy manager at a Walmart. And whenever they came in, I would go in and buy all of them and then stick them on eBay and sell them for 2, 3, 4 times as much as I paid for them. So that was really my start in e-commerce. Later, I started doing, 2013, 2014, we started in on T-shirts with Teespring. That was, back when that was just taking off like a rocket. Around 2015, I was introduced to Ken Anderson in the early days of T-Rex before it was WordPress. And that's how I got started really big in doing e-commerce stuff, and been doing that ever since. The weird thing that I've had to overcome was January 26th, 2017. I had an artery in the back of my head explode and had a nice stroke, and has affected my vision and my memory and all that. So I had to relearn everything. And it wasn't until about October of 2017 that I was able to actually start really coming back.
Wow.
And my wife was like, you got to get back into the selling and doing stuff. We got to make a living here. And I realized that I remembered knowing how to do stuff, but I didn't know how to do it anymore. So if we're talking like Photoshop, I remembered that I knew how to go in there and make mock-ups and all that, but I couldn't remember how to do it. So when you have the memory that you know how to do this, just do it, and you can't, there's a level of frustration there that is just crazy. So coming back from basically nothing, I mean, I didn't have anything going during that recovery period. And trying to come back, and it was all relearning. And so it was one of those situations where you always see these emails from the gurus that say something like, well, if I had to start over, what would I do? And they all say, the money's in the list, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, you're, an email marketer. That's what your living is. So of course your money's in the list. I was a retail type person. And so it was a very different path. So it was coming back and, learning Ads Manager and Facebook and making ad images and learning Photoshop again and all that fun stuff that, everybody has to do at some point, but just actually doing it again for the first time, it was like literally learning it the first time again. And because all the memories of all the stuff that we'd done, that was just gone. I don't know if they're still locked up in my head, but I don't have any access to those memories. So basically it was starting over from scratch, and I needed a way that I could do it with my, diminished brain function. So I started working on how can I do this easier and with more success, more, rapidly. And that's when we started really focusing on platforms like Etsy and Amazon that have their own traffic. So it wasn't a matter of driving a lot of traffic for us. It was making the listings in the way that the big selling people and stores and all that on Etsy and Amazon, how they were doing it. What were they doing that was so different that they were selling stuff and other people weren't? So what I did was I went on to eRank. It used to be called Etsy Rank, but eRank. And there's a tool in there under competition that says top sellers. And then I went into the clothing category and I started going through the top 100 selling stores. And that was very enlightening because right there in those stores, all the big selling stores do a lot of things the same. So I just literally started writing out lists of things that they all do the same. What do they do that's so different than everybody else? And it was really a black and white thing because there's a large percentage of people on Etsy never sell anything. They have the mindset that they're artisans and they're so unique. Well, you know what they say about artists, just because people don't understand what you're doing doesn't make you an artist. Well, there's a lot of people that don't understand what they're doing, and they've uniqued themselves out of business. And that's where we, where, sometimes you got to tell people, you've uniqued yourself into a box that nobody wants your stuff. I mean, if a ketchup and marshmallow sandwich is different and unique, then why isn't McDonald's selling ketchup and marshmallow sandwiches? Nobody wants it. You got to have something that people want to buy, and you need to present it in a way that people will actually see it to buy. I mean, that's really the two main things is, having something that they want to buy. And when you look at these top 100 selling stores on Etsy, they're not doing anything unique. It's all the stuff that sells. And that's what you got to learn. You got to learn to be able to spot the formula. What are they doing that, all of these stores, all of them, literally all of them, do very similar things. And people buy this stuff because it's what they want. It's a nice product. It fits what their desire is. And we stopped, and I'll give you one big thing that we noticed in the top 100 stores. They're not niched. And a lot of times people are like, well, I'm in the St. Bernard niche or whatever. But how many people are really buying stuff in that niche? We noticed that these stores do audiences. If they're going after people, they're going after 25 to 35-year-old women and all the things, all their niches, all the topics that those people are going through. They're getting married, they're having kids, they're, expecting or doing pregnancy announcements, things like that. All those in workouts, all those topics are in common with all those people in that audience, but that audience is millions of people. And that really opens up your topics. It opens up the possibilities for being able to sell to a large number of people and having items that they want. That's the big thing, is you now have millions of people, because Etsy released their second quarter earnings because they're a publicly traded company, and they had 42.7 million customers, something, I mean, so crazy like that. And it was $1.1 billion in sales in the second quarter. Well, that means the average sale they had was about $25. So they're looking for those items that are probably gift type items. A lot of the print on demand stuff that is in that $20-$25 price range. That's the sweet spot, which is exactly where a lot of people are in e-commerce with print on demand stuff.
Yeah, no, and let me jump in here. First, I want to say it's good to have you back and doing what you're doing. And again, just for me to give a testimony. So Kevin's been around a long time, and what's really interesting about Kevin is this multi-platform experience, right? So not only running a WordPress, e-commerce store, the Amazon, the Etsy, and I know a lot of people might even not know what Etsy is, but I got to stop you because you just dropped a whole bunch of gold, and I want to point out the gold. Like, I want to re-emphasize what you just said, because if you're looking to start your e-commerce business and you don't already have a brand, or you don't have a little widget that you're trying to build an e-commerce store around, but you want to just make it as a home-based business, he did one thing, right? He gets back in the game. And he found a method to go study successful people, right? That's what we do. Success leaves tracks. And when you can study successful people, and he said, I think, quote unquote, they all had a lot of things in common. They're all doing the same things the same way. Okay, so let me see what they're doing and let me copy that. That's just huge. So it doesn't matter. And then the next thing is like, well, how did you figure that out? Like, how did you find where this top 100 stores were? How do you do your reconnaissance on Amazon stores? How do you do your reconnaissance on Shopify stores? And we're not going to get into that today, but I just want to let you know, you start thinking that way. When we were doing the drop shipping business, we had various different software tools where we were watching hundreds of Shopify stores and what they were selling, how many sales they were making a day. And when we saw something trending, we went and found the same supplier and started selling the same thing, right? That's the whole competitive drop shipping world that I kind of hate, but you can generate sales and revenue. And then the other thing I want to ask you is, and you said this, you said, okay, so now I've done my spying, so we can use that good spy word, right? I've done my spying and I've done my research, I've done my homework, and I'm looking at what successful people are doing. And then there's a formula. So tell us, like, what's the formula? Do you have there's, like I always call it, it checks the boxes. I want it to be lightweight. I want to ship, whatever the box is. But what is the formula you look for when finding a product that you want to try to launch and test and take to market?
Well, one of the big things, we love Etsy. Etsy has a lot of advantages for people. It has its own traffic built in, and it's pretty easy to load items onto it. It doesn't take a lot of work. The secret of the thing with Etsy is we use erank.com, and we go into the competition tool and the top sellers, and then we look by category, and it'll give you the top 100 sellers right there, and we just go look at what they're doing. And the thing with Etsy is, when you look at a store, Otis over there again, when you look at a store, you can go into their reviews, and the reviews tell you exactly what people have bought, which is absolutely huge right there. And at the bottom of the page, they give you the actual keywords, the tags used on the item. And so, that's no secret there.
That's
but
gold.
That tells you.
But see, the average person doesn't know that, right, Ken? That's awesome.
So you get all the information right there that you need, and it's like, well, what styles of shirts? What does the designs look like? What things? They literally hand you all the information. So that was what we started doing. We started looking at these other stores, and we started looking at the top selling ones. What do they do? And when you start looking at it and you just start writing down the things they have in common, that is your formula right there. It's no more difficult than that. Just learn that formula, what their tags look like, the way they do their titles, the way they put keywords in their titles, things like that is everything you need to have a successful store right there. I mean, handed to you at no charge. If you know the stores to go look at on Etsy, all that information is available right there on the sales page. It's amazing.
And you take that same concept, let's say you're selling, and again, I don't know if you do this still now or not, but a lot of people, they'll have an Etsy store. Like we have Etsy store, we have Amazon, we sell on Amazon, but our main focus is really our e-commerce store that we own, our branded domain, our client, our customer base. But that doesn't mean I still can't go and learn that information from what you're talking about, right? So
that information will apply to any store. That same information will apply anywhere.
Right.
So it's, you see, and you can see in these top selling stores what's selling, what style sells, what colors sell, what does it look like. Everything you need to get started and be successful is right there.
Hey, Kevin, can I ask you a specific question then? Because I love that entire process, and we call it spying. But the part where you were talking about how you were finding stores, the top stores weren't in niches, but they were, you can see that they were finding audiences. Can you give us like an example of what you saw? Like you said,
sure.
Yeah.
There are about 7 stores in the top 20 that cater to a very specific audience of women aged 25 to 35. And when you look in their reviews, hang on a second, got another cat yelling at me. Okay, so when you look at them, it's that female audience, 25 to 35. That's a huge multi-million person audience, and they go after all these big selling stores on Etsy because women love to shop on Etsy. That is their bread and butter right there. Something like 80% of women, their users are women. That 25 to 35-year-old woman who, is probably settling down a little bit, probably has moved up a little bit at their job. They have some good income. They're not afraid to buy something that they want. And so the Etsy person, that 25 to 35-year-old woman who's, having kids and they're doing activities with their families and their kids and getting married or whatever it is, that is a huge, huge audience. And there's all sorts of different audiences. You have the 45 to 60-year-old, grandma type women. And that's an audience because they have a lot of things in common. A lot of them do things like knitting and grandmas go hand in hand. There's so many different topics that you can focus on with these huge audiences. And the thing with with these women that are 25 to 35, they make new ones every day. New women turn 25 every day.
That's awesome. Now let me ask you a question. You said something about these different age ranges and the niches, and you said they don't niche. So there's a lot of people out there, they talk about niche it down, like concentrate on your niche. Now, again, for when I'm talking about Facebook advertising, I believe in that strategy because if I niche it down and I'm driving traffic and I'm dropping pixels on a 45 to 60-year-old woman who is married, who watches Real Housewives, who subscribes to Good and Gardening, I'm getting that good pixel data. But on Etsy, that's not the same. So you have different strategies for different platforms, and you kind of indicate that they're more of a general store idea. You're just selling knick-knack, paddywhack to a particular demographic. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, and even on Facebook, I don't niche it down. When I go after those grandmas, those 45 to 65-year-old women, I'm literally targeting all of them, 9-10 million of them. Right. I'm not niching down that much. I'm going for audiences because so many people in that audience have so many things in common. So that's the beauty of doing audience stores instead of niche stores, is you have a much broader base because you're doing things they have in common. You go to any 25-year-old, or a group of 25, 30-year-old women, they're all going to have a lot of things in common. So you have all these different topics. It opens you up to be able to do more things on products that they buy. And when you look at these stores on Etsy, they're masterful at it. They're so good at this. It's like getting a free master's degree in marketing, just going on Etsy and seeing what they're doing. It's not unethical. It's doing your market research, and don't get buried in the research. Go in and look at a store for about 10 minutes. That's it. Go in, look at a store for about 10 minutes, see what they're doing, see why they're successful, see why they've sold 90,000 items, and how they're doing it, and then get out and do it. You don't need to sit there all day. You got to be able to get in, get out.
So let me ask you this question. So now you've kind of done your research, you've kind of identified the audience that you really want to target, and you go, okay, you've identified the products you want. One, how do you source your products? And then two, do you have a mathematical equation of the kind of margins that you have to have? So like, for instance, I'll preface it by saying this. I have no desire to try to sell anything online with what I'm doing and I spend the money on the Facebook ads with something that doesn't have at least 60% margins. Like, I cannot profitably spend Facebook ads, do my work, spend my time if I don't have at least 60% margins. So in your case, tell me how you source your products, and do you have like a mathematical equation that kind of brings that around, that you go, oh, there's not enough margins in that product, so I'm going to pass?
Yeah, we go for a 50% margin, so we're kind of similar in that regard. As far as sourcing our products, we make everything. If we can't make it, we don't sell it. That's the number one way we can make sure that we have our margins, is if we can source blank items and print them ourselves or make them ourselves, whatever. But that's what we do. Outsourcing will just kill your profits.
Well, that being said, then let's talk about that real quick, because I think the audience wants to know, and I want to know. So are you doing print on demand? Is that the main area of your business?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. And what do you find your top seller is now? Is it still T-shirts across the board, or is it just a bunch of multiple products?
T-shirts are probably our number one item. We're doing Bella T-shirts because we can get a few more bucks out of it. People recognize the brand and they know it and trust it. So we do that. Women, we market almost exclusively to women.
Okay, awesome. And then real quick, I want to ask you is, when you were doing the research for our market research, your market research for Etsy and stuff, can you talk about, is it the erank.com system that you use, or
yeah,
what are you using?
We use eRank for our research on stores. We use Marmalade for grading our listings. Marmalade's grading criteria are much stiffer than eRank. So eRank is really good for doing the store reconnaissance, but its grading is kind of lame.
That's awesome. Yeah, I wanted to put that out there for the audience, that there are different tools we can use. If you can, maybe we can type in that URL that you're using for the other part of research other than eRank. We can put that in the comments so that the audience can get it and they can take a look at it too. I think you can type in the comment section, but while you're doing that, I want to ask you some really deep tactical questions, if that's possible, so we can utilize a lot of the time that we have. Traffic is a big thing, and so I know that you're talking about targeting and you're not niching out, but what's the biggest way that you guys are driving traffic to Etsy? And I don't know if Etsy has like an internal traffic drive like Amazon does, but I don't know exactly how that works. But how do you drive traffic? And
I don't.
You don't. You just use whatever
Etsy has millions of people visit.
No, but what he does is he works on the SEO side of things, the right title tags, the right descriptions.
Okay,
so when people go there to search, he's popping up. And then once you get that good rating and you have lots of sellers, you rate it. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like you're not going to happen overnight and get overnight, but as you build it up and you spend a couple of years on it, then you're on autopilot because you're sitting there and the buyers just keep coming.
Yeah, the more you sell on Etsy, the more you sell. It's just the way it is.
Right.
Your relevance score, so you boost in the searches. There are several articles out there written by people who say they are Oracle engineers and Oracle databases, and Etsy is built on an Oracle database, same as eBay. They have the same development team within Oracle do both of their databases. And the guys that we're talking about their work on Etsy said at any given time, about 50% of the Etsy stores are active in search. And the way you stay active in search is by loading items and making sure that your SEO is good. And when you load an item, let's say you put 5 items in a day, that's great because it shows Etsy, it tells the database that you're actively working on your store. And so that they keep you active in the Etsy search. There are little things like that that are out there, little tips and tricks like that that you can do to keep your store in the active search. SEO on Etsy is everything.
That's awesome. That's good to know. And a majority of our business is on our like Greg said, is on our own e-commerce stores that we have for our own website. And of course, traffic is a big thing with it. I've sold before on Amazon, and I've never sold on Etsy. But I love the fact that you're still leveraging the entire platform's ability to relevancy to keep your products up. And I think that that's what's really important. So let me ask you a question regarding. I think Greg
just real quick. I just want to emphasize again that little nugget he just said there, right? So YouTube marketing, YouTube marketers, blog posting, WordPress, eBay, they all have this technology, these algorithms, and what they're looking for they're looking for people that are consistently doing something, that are consistently providing good content, good things. Mm-hmm. So we used to teach the same thing with blogging. Like if you were to do blogging, if you blogged every day consistently for a long period of times, Google would pick you up and give you all kinds of love. Same thing's happening with YouTube and your YouTube channel. If you produce a video, one video a week, and you say, okay, do it on Tuesday, do it on Monday, do it on Wednesday, do it on Thursday, and you just do it all these different times, it's not as effective as if you do every Wednesday at 10 a.m., same time, every week I release that video. Right. They see that consistency, they love it. And so same thing with Etsy. So let's say you're going to load 50 products up this week. Maybe you're better off to do 5 products a day or 10 products a day for 5 days in a row. That's a good strategy, but
that's exactly what I'm saying. The old saying, how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time, really applies to Etsy because it's doing those bite-sized things every day. It's stacking bricks to make a wall. That's exactly what it is. Every little piece counts.
Gotcha. That's good news. That's good.
Well, let me ask you a question regarding that then is, you're probably automating your stuff, right? There's probably a system that you have in place in terms of, are you literally going through entire checklists every day? Are there ways for people that are online store owners now to automate their process? And if so, what are you using to do that?
We don't.
Okay, you just do hand by hand, just checklist it?
Yeah, I don't do anything. We don't do anything crazy. Like when we list on Etsy, it's literally taking a previous listing, copying it, changing a couple words in a picture, and listing it. We're not doing a lot of work to waste time. I mean, if you're going through an Etsy listing, starting it from scratch every time, that's just not smart. Just copy what's already working and paste in a couple new words and you're good.
Well, then that being said, let's just say, for example, someone that's just starting out, and let's say want to sell on Etsy or Amazon, other than the fact that you're spying and looking at what that looks like, are there any other tips that they can do that you learned that when you were starting all over again, that you would tell the audience and us again? Like when you remember you had to start all over again, you did the entire thing. What's some of the things that you find early entrepreneurs, early store owners do that needs to change, correct, or whatever?
They get in their own way. They fall in love with their designs, or they fall in love with some item that's not selling. And they keep thinking, well, I'm going to keep this ad running because I just know these people are going to buy it. They're going to love it. They're going to be there. So they let the ad go way too long and they're just pouring money into a pit. So getting out of your own way and thinking to yourself, like a mercenary. E-commerce is like a mercenary. You're doing it to get paid. So just because you like something doesn't mean someone else will like it. That's the big thing, and that's what a lot of times we see with people that they fall in love with some particular item or design or style or something, but nobody else wants it. So that's why we keep saying, look at the stuff that sells and figure out why. Why do they like it? Is it the color? Is it the style? Is it the brand? What is it? And from that, once you have that information, you can get out of your own way and get out of your head thinking to yourself, well, I like this. Why isn't it selling? And you don't fall in love with the items. I think that's the biggest thing.
Well, then
that's great advice. That's absolutely just great advice. I mean, people listen to that. And you know what? Being with my Angel Investors Network role, and we're always talking to entrepreneurs and inventors and things like that, everyone thinks their product's the best product. It's going to sell like crazy. It's just the biggest deal. It's going to be the next $1 billion deal. And I'm like, look, go run some ads to it. Well, I don't even have the product done yet. I haven't got it manufactured yet. I'm like, take some photos, get your manufacturer, go run some ads to it, and then collect the credit card and then refund the credit card. Prove to yourself that people will buy this, and then investors will love that.
Right.
But it's just like, I just was telling somebody that like 2 days ago. It's like what? You mean you actually take their money? And I said, yeah. Then you refund them. It's a little hassle, but I said that way you have proof that people actually whip up their credit card and pay you, because I've done stuff, and you have too, Kevin. I know, where we've driven lots of traffic, lots of engagement, and you're just going, man, this is going to be a barn burner. But when it comes to whipping up their credit card, they didn't like it that much.
Yep. And that's one of the things that we see on Facebook all the time, because Facebook knows more about you than the CIA knows about you. I mean, it's just ridiculous, the amount of, this is my weed dealer, and I go down the corner at the 3:45 p.m. on Wednesdays and buy from them. I mean, people tag the stupidest things in their photos. So the government has more information than, but Facebook knows you even better than the CIA. So if you can't get, let me just back up 1 sec. Oh crap. Here we go. Okay, I could close my browser. I thought I lost you.
You're good. You're good the entire time.
Okay, so got back up for 1 second. Just because you like something doesn't mean other people are going to like it. So that's number one. Number two is don't fall in love with any of your products. There was something else I was going to say in there.
So, perhaps give us an example of what you think that you're selling now. What's the hottest thing you're selling now, and when you pivoted over? Like, what does that process look like? So you're selling, it's doing well, and all of a sudden something, and then you pivot. How does that work? The way that you guys figured that out?
Basically, if I don't like something, it will sell.
So you're the good meter. Like, if you don't like it, it's gonna sell. Okay.
Yeah, literally the first big home run item we ever had, I made as a joke. I said, I'm going to make the ugliest design ever, and it was a grandma shirt. It was the ugliest design we had ever seen, and I said, I don't see how anybody would ever buy this. I hate the font to this day, and it still sells. But we've sold over 20,000 of this particular design, and I absolutely hate it.
and what's interesting about that is his wife is a graphic designer. That's what she does. Like, so they taught a lot of the T-Rex people a graphic design. They know how to create good design, good layout, good stuff. It's just like, I'm with you, man. I remember some of those designs and just going, that's the ugly. Who would buy that? But,
yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous when you think, and if cute doesn't sell. Anything you do cute won't sell. It's another thing I keep telling people. When you go on Etsy and you're looking at all these stores and you go through the reviews of the stuff that sells, it's ugly.
Well, then,
but it has a certain look to it. And when you go through 4 or 5 stores, and I'm saying do it fast. Don't spend a lot of time in any one store. Just go through the reviews on Etsy stores, about 2 minutes each store, and do 10 of them. And you'll go through and you'll see, and they all look alike. The design has a formula as well. It's ugly and it's text.
That's awesome. That's crazy. I get asked this question a lot from a lot of our people, and also from friends that I know, is to sell online, and specifically, let's go with Etsy since that's your platform. Is what am I looking in terms of capital? What do I need to do to start? Like, so how much have you guys started? Or what would you say?
We actually have helped a lot of people start an Etsy business, and we start with about $15.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we have them buy a domain. What we like to do is we only will name a store if we can get the .com name.
Okay.
And so then we just set up a forwarding. Once you type in that name, it goes straight to the Etsy store, and then we can make an email address on our domain, stuff like that. Just minor stuff that makes it look more legit, more robust. Like, oh, these people, they have a real name,
Yeah. Well, then, that's what I want to ask you a question about is that you help, and you've got your own mentorship program, and you've got a program that you help a lot of people with. What's that like, and what are some of the things that you offer? Is it just strictly online, or is it face to face? What's that like? Because I know that's something else that you do outside of your company.
Yeah, we do live events actually at our shop, and have some people come in there, and we'll take them through the process of how do we make all this stuff. Because once you see how everything is made, you see how the sausage is made, you understand more why things cost the way they cost. I mean, there's more to it than people think. It's not just sticking a shirt on a printer and knocking out a shirt real fast. It's not how it works. So having them come in, then we'll make them samples of their own art so they can see the products that they've made, and they can take them home with them, which is also a big deal. It makes it more real to you when you see something that you've created in the flesh, and you can you take it home with you. He's like, wow, actually I made that design, and this is what it looks like on the shirt. That's great. So we do that, and we take them through the whole process of making a store and making it look like a legit store so that they can actually have sales.
Well, that leads into this thing. Mike Craig, one of our viewers right now, has a question. I'll put it up here and see if you can answer him directly. We did answer some of this earlier. I don't know if you're just joining us, but here's his question. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. If you want to do an ad to your Etsy store, what we do is every Etsy store we have, and we have a bunch, we make a Facebook page for, just like for anything. And we post items, we post memes, we post all kinds of content on those pages. So then you can't use a Facebook pixel on Etsy unless you use Pattern by Etsy, which is horrible. So we don't do conversion ads, which we would love to, but what we do is we either boost a post, if you boost a post that gets likes, comments, and shares more than anything, or we'll do a website traffic ad, and that gets people that are more tending to click on links. So we get plenty of traffic with a website traffic ad, and then we'll take them straight to the item. But you don't get any conversion data that way, but you get traffic.
Okay, that's awesome. That makes more sense. I wanted to ask you something logistically for your designs. Is what are you using to? Is it with Printful? What are you using to get your designs that you sell out on Etsy?
We make everything.
You make everything. Okay.
Yes.
And then are you doing fulfillment and inventory at home as where you are?
No, we have our own little shop. We do everything.
Yeah, so they have a screen printer, and they do coffee mugs, and they do the sublimation, all that stuff.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, moving into that big question that we have, and I know that you tried to answer it a little bit earlier. And the question is, okay, if you had to start all over again today, what's the one thing? I know, but I just want to say what's the one thing you do differently? And you actually had to start over again, and you told us a little bit earlier, but what's the one thing you would do differently? Like, what's the one vertical, the product or business you'd like to be a part of? What's that look like for you?
Well, the thing I would do exactly what I just did. I would go back and I would be on platforms that have their own traffic. Using a platform that has their own traffic is the biggest thing you can do to get started. I mean, I still have an old Shopify store that is 1,000 years old, and I pay way too much for them every month. But being on these other places where I don't have to drive traffic and I just have to learn the SEO, well, that's easy. I mean, especially Amazon and Etsy are a lot easier because the people are already there. You just got to get your item in front of them. So learning what the people want. And Amazon is a bizarre marketplace. It's bottom feeders. It's the cheapest version of whatever on a lot of them. And Etsy is the people, the customers are the more bohemian. They think that everything's hand done. You live in a van down by the river with your 8 kids, and you're selling T-shirts to feed your children and all that. It's a very you learn the customer, and you can figure out a lot of the customer data by knowing from looking at the big sellers on the platforms, Etsy is, very easy to figure out. Amazon's a little trickier, but there are plenty of tools. There's a lot of Shopify spying tools, or you can go and you can see the type. You can figure out what the customer base is by the image they're portraying in their store.
Well, that's awesome. That being said, have you ever tried to sell stuff on Amazon? Do you have an Amazon shop or whatever?
Yeah, we have a listing service that we just built, and it's getting ready to come out in a few days. But Amazon is something we were doing merch on Amazon before Amazon. We've been on Amazon for almost 5 years now.
Wow. And Etsy's driving most of your volume right now currently, is that right?
Yeah, we do a lot more with Etsy regularly than we do on Amazon. Yes.
That's great, man. There's a lot of gold nuggets in terms of the just using Etsy alone, and you've got my interest peak, and I'm going to check out Etsy and do all those things. I like to see how that works. I come from a standard traditional digital agency where we're driving whatever brand, whatever product we're doing, right? It's really brand centric and product centric, even here at LaunchCart. But I've always been interested because to me, it's always been those platforms was the best way to start. You can cut your teeth on that and with very minimum costs and be able to do that. So I know a lot of people, the biggest question they always ask me is, how do I start? I mean, how much do I need to start? What's the best platform to start? And sometimes the answers are different, but more and more I tell them, like, open up an Amazon store, open up an Etsy store, and you can learn a lot through that. Greg, is there anything else you want to say regarding that?
No, it's good stuff. I know we haven't talked to Ken in a long time, and we've been working on this new SaaS, and we're coming out, and it's up and going, and we've integrated with Printful. We integrated with Printful's mockup generator. We now have over 200 products that people can use for print on demand, and of course you can use those same products that you create with Printful and Etsy and Amazon and wherever else you want to sell as well, in addition to LaunchCart. But it's the first phase of our LaunchCart empire that we're building with our new marketplace, and we put together a design marketplace where people can buy designs. They automatically get uploaded to the Printful library, and we got some big plans to create the first freemium SaaS platform for free. And we're basically taking all of the top 20 functionality and features and apps of Shopify, building them native into our platform, and then give it away for free. So we'll have the one-click upsells and the downsells and the pop-ups and the exit pops and all the stuff that we as internet marketers want to do to increase our conversions, but it'll be in our free platform. And then we're going to stock away 500,000 to 1 million users, and then we're going to start getting real brands to upload their catalogs of products into our marketplace and allow everybody from the Marvel Comics to the Levi jeans to allow people to sell their products in their store on a drop ship basis.
Sure. That'd be great.
So Kevin, I'm super just blessed and stoked that you're on the show today and give us a lot of insight in terms of what you're doing and how you're scaling, and also at the same time of how you're building a program out to help other people. What is it that you're working on now that you want to tell the audience about a little more? Is there anything you want to plug, anything that you want to push?
Yeah, how can we help you?
We're starting our own little platform with Amazon and Etsy uploading. It'll tie directly into your accounts. It's tprofessionals.com. It's our stores, our platform link. We're just starting registrations today for our beta testing because we're just now getting started. We had a bit of a setback a couple months ago with business partners and stuff. So we decided that we wanted our own platform. So we're starting that. We are going to continue to do a lot of live training. Anybody that needs help, and you see me on Skype all the time, add me. It's Venomous Duck. That's who I am on Skype. So that's really it.
So type that URL. Can you type? Do you have access to the chat, or is that just us?
You should be able to type right in the comments. Can you see the comments on the side of your interface? There you go.
I know Kevin's been one of the most giving, awesome guys that's in our community. He really is the he's like the poster child for the kind of people that we like to have within our stuff, because he's always giving, he's always helping. He's just been an amazing individual, him and his wife too, both of them. and they've come to a number of our events and
Oh, yeah.
spoken at our events and done that kind of stuff. So it's just been awesome. So with that being said, let's leave the audience with this one thing. What's possible? Somebody starts today, they take their time, they get the right mentoring, they get the right coaching, they put in the sweat equity. Can they make 3,000 a month? Can they make 1,000 a month? Can they make 5,000 a month? What's possible with the methodology that you teach and train?
Sure. I mean, we say take a step back and think about something first. What is life-changing money? Life-changing money for most people is earning enough money to pay the car payment every month where you don't have to worry about it coming out of your pocket from your job. So, what is it? Is it the house payment? Is it the rent payment? What is it that would really alleviate stress in your life? That's your first goal, is to get to that level. And it's not making $1 million a day. It's what will relieve that stress that you're under all the time, that you're always feeling weird about. Once the stress starts to dissipate, then you just do more of what got you to that point to alleviate that stress. That's all it is making a small step first and doing more of that got you there.
Oh, that's good. That's good stuff. That's good advice right there. All right. So with that being said, we're ready to wrap it up, Johnson?
Yeah, we are. But before we go, Greg, let's and before we release Kevin, let's talk about real quick our little special offer for ECOM Mentor Monthly. Can we do that?
Well, we can release Kevin and we can do that.
All right. Well, hey, Kevin, I want to thank you for coming to the show and being a part of it. I'm so glad we got to connect, and a lot of your insight, I'm like taking tons of notes. I don't know, Greg knows you, so I'm just taking tons of notes and getting all this. I read your bio. I was super inspired by the fact that you had to start over again. I know how that is to start over again. I've been there with different companies, different places, and that's really important to me. And once again, great insight on what you're saying. I love how it's like I asked you the question, so how do you deal with traffic? You're like, we don't deal with traffic. We spy, we figure it out. We're smart, we engage. We're very simple at what we do, and I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
It has to be stress-free. This is the greatest business in the world because you're making something for a customer. When they get it, they're going to open the bag and they're going to smile. You are delivering smiles to people in a stressful world. When every day you hear about North Korea and a missile or whatever, fires somewhere burning, and you're providing people a smile. This business needs to be easier. It needs to be more fun. You're selling smiles, and that makes the e-com the greatest business on the planet. It doesn't matter that who you are, what color your skin is, if you're male, female, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're not out there. Nobody knows who you are when they're buying from you. It's the last equal playing field on the planet.
Yeah, and not mention you can do it from anywhere in the world.
Yep.
Laptop lifestyle really gives meaning to that for those people that like to travel and like to pop on and go to different places. And for those of us who don't, it's still a great thing. So I want to say thanks, Kevin. We sure appreciate it. Let us know if we can do anything to help you, and we'll see you at the top because we're chasing you up that ladder.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
All right, if you like that, there's more of that to come every month, twice a month. We have experts come on, share their wisdom, share their knowledge, share what they do to do it. And so we have a special going on throughout the end of the year. If you want to get in, become an official member of eCom Mentor Monthly, you can try us out for $1 for 2 weeks. You can get into the membership site. You can download some PDFs, some checklists. We're getting ready to upload. I don't know if we upload those PSD templates. Those are worth $1 right there.
Yeah, we did.
So just go to launchcart.com, and then on the nav there you can hit you scroll down. You got to go to the
right there.
Yeah, click there. It's launchcart.com/ecom mentor, I think. And there you can find out more about what we have in there. We're constantly adding new content and products, training, new information in there, and then we get you access to our private Facebook group. And we can build this community with people like Kevin who are out there to help everyone succeed. And there's just tons of information, tons of knowledge. And there's nothing keeping you from succeeding in this business when you get the right mentors and the right people and the right group and the right community around you. And I love what Kevin just said too. It's like, let's start off with a goal that my car payment's $300 a month. How do I make an extra $300 a month that comes in regardless, and I just make that car payment? then let's do more of that. And let's, get it to $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month, whatever. And let's get the rent payment or the house payment, the mortgage payment done. Right. And let's keep thinking that mentality. And then next thing you know, you have a business going, and not try to conquer the moon and chase this fallacy that, I can just launch this and start making millions tomorrow. That is possible, but only possible with a team and lots of money to start with. So.
Right. And just don't forget, guys, that you can actually join EECOM Mentor Monthly right now, get a 2-week trial for $1. Is that right, Greg? For $1, you're able to get on for 2 weeks, go into the coursework, look at it, see if it's something you like, and then say, hey, I want to be a part of this. And just to let you know, these live streams are available and archived for free right now, but come January, they're going to go straight to the membership site. And for you to be able to look at it again, you're going to have to be part of the EECOM Mentor Monthly membership. So anyway, with that being said, we want to thank you all for joining us today. It was great having you. Some of the questions we see there, we've got some links for you. Remember that showing up is a first step to get to where you want to be. And we are so blessed, stoked, whatever it is, for you to come and see us and join us again. We're going to be live again on Tuesdays and Thursdays every week at 3 p.m. And come join us for more insights and to push your e-commerce to the next level. For me, I want to close with the fact that with all the noise that's happening, I live for what matters most. It's simple. That's it. I will tell that to my team. I'll tell that to Greg is what at the end of the day, I've got to look for what matters most. That's important. And all things I got to do at the end of the day, I got to say the thing that matters most gets the work done first. So that's where I am. Greg, is there any last thoughts from you?
No, I just want to let everyone know and say we appreciate your time. We know it's the most valuable asset you have. So thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you got some value out of this. We hope you share this link, share it with your people, share it with your friends. If you have any kids, get them to launchcart.com. Get them to start their own t-shirt store. No money up front and not even $15. So Kevin's talking about starting an Etsy store for $15. You can start a LaunchCart store for $0. Just put some sweat equity in. Get a little work going. So with that being said, I want to say thank you. Appreciate you. Do what I do. Wake up every day with an attitude of gratitude and tell somebody you love them, and you'll have a better day, I promise.
All right. See y'all again in the next EECOM Mentor Monthly stream.